After reading and reviewing the guidance report, we decided that recommendation 1, which is teaching cell skills explicitly, and recommendation 4, which is using the SAFE principles to plan your provision, were the most suitable for us as a school and the stage we were at in terms of strengthening our social and emotional learning offer for the children. Now, when we read the introduction of the guidance report, something really stood out to us, and that was the 5 core competencies for social and emotional learning. Now, these 5 core competencies, which are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills and responsible decision making, are directly linked to positive outcomes both now and in the future. Now, when we knew that we wanted to base our new social and emotional learning offer around these 5 core competencies, the next thing that we needed to think about was when we were going to teach social and emotional learning, because we knew we wanted to teach it alongside our PSHE curriculum. It wasn't going to replace it, it was going to complement it and all the other areas of the curriculum too. What was it going to look like in each year group across school, and who was going to teach it as well. So that's where recommendation 4 was really useful for us as a school. And that is all about using the SAFE principles to plan your social and emotional learning curriculum. So within that recommendation, it gives lots of guidance around how to do this most effectively, and it mentions building social and emotional skills progressively over time, teaching them through brief and regular instruction, so short bursts of explicit teaching of skills and practicing them over time. That was great for us because we knew that we needed to fit this into our timetable. We only wanted to have short bursts of it. We didn't want to have an hour session a week, so that was a real sigh of relief for us to read that that was the most effective way to teach social and emotional learning. It also talks about using active forms of learning for children to learn and embed the social and emotional skills, so using lots of discussion, different scenarios for children to apply their learning to, and also things like role play for children as well. So again, we knew that that's something that our children love and enjoy, so why not use that within our cell sessions? A starting point for us in developing our provision was the introduction of something called a mood meter. And in the autumn term, all children in school were introduced to their mood meter. Now, the mood meter has 6 basic emotions, and then for each of those emotions there are little sliding scales underneath, ranging from shorter to much longer. Now, these sliding scales are a visual representation of the intensity of our feelings. So this is a real visual model for our youngest children to show that yes, we have the feeling of sadness, but actually we can feel that just a little, or we can feel that quite strongly. So in our foundation stage, children are introduced to that visually, and they use very basic language such as I am feeling a little sad to I am feeling very or extremely sad. Now, as children progress through school, they are then taught specific emotional vocabulary in each year group, and then they can associate those new words to different points of the mood meter. So at the beginning of the academic year, our Inset Day was focused around social and emotional learning. Why was this a school priority for us this year, and why were we tweaking our approach to make it more structured and more explicit? Because staff had already read the guidance report, they already understood why this was important. They'd read the evidence, they'd looked at the research, and they understood why it was important for our children in particular. So on the Inset Day, we explored the competencies more, we introduced staff to what our curriculum was going to look like, we introduced them to the mood meter, the emotional vocabulary list, we took questions and offered any challenge. So did they think these words were right? Did we need to tweak any? And we did tweak some of the words in the emotional vocabulary list. So staff were part of that process. We've shared these strategies with parents and carers through different platforms. So the assemblies that are shared with children at the beginning of each half term around the new core competency are also shared with parents through our Wellbeing YouTube channel and also through our school website, so parents can actually see the strategies that are being used with their children. They know the language that they're going to be taught, and that way they can use it at home as well. We also have a half-termly pastoral newsletter where strategies are shared with parents, and also through specific meetings with parents we will give more guidance and support around different strategies if they need them too. We know that this consistency between home and school is essential for our children so that they can apply the skills and strategies beyond the school gates. If they can do that, that's when we know it's had a real impact on their life as well. In our most recent health and wellbeing parent survey, more parents have stated that they know ways to support their children in managing their mental health and wellbeing as well, which is great. If I wanted listeners to read one thing after watching this video, it would be reading the introduction in the guidance report. And I know that might seem quite silly, but the reason for that is because when we as a school read the introduction, that's when we initially started to challenge our thinking and our approaches that were already in place in school. So we already thought we were doing lots for social and emotional learning, but when we read that introduction and we were introduced to the 5 core competencies and the skills associated it, we actually realised that we needed to do more. We needed to do it more explicitly.